Oh, okay.
Oh, nice. Good for you. That's great. And I'll have you go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, my name's Monica Baird, and I live in Stowe, and I lived there most of my life. CEO of Stoned on Happiness, my friend Don is 33 years clean and sober. So if you go to Stoned on Happiness, you can see him paint with his beard. And I was recently a product manager, so I'm looking for a marketing job.
Nice.
Okay. Can you introduce yourself and let us know what organization you represent or what your interest is in being here today?
Sure, absolutely. I'm Tricia. I work for the Summit County Developmental Disabilities Board. I'm in the communications department. My interest here is more of the inclusion, specifically around disabilities, but inclusion in general. I'm just really interested in what this discussion is about because I wasn't at that.
Okay. And where did you say you're here from?
Summit DD.
Oh, great. Okay. Nice to see you. All right. And then,
Hank Forrester, real name Scott Foster, but that's my WWE name. So yeah, I'm here for a lot of reasons. I mean, Reggie was supposed to come this morning with me, and he didn't have a chance to because he had a death in the family this morning. Reggie's brother-in-law was gunned down due to violence in the city of Akron. I'm here to represent and discuss diversity. It's something that's really been on my mind lately with some of the stories that we've been covering as I was at the gala 2 weeks ago. So it's something that I really want to strive to find a way for Akron to be more unified. So that's why I'm here. That's why I'm here. So.
Yeah, I'm Sarah White. I came along with Scott. I'm his co-host on 3 to Go. I also host on Akron Buzz. I'm really interested in Akron media. I grew up in Akron. I love Akron. I love all the Akron things and want to promote them and just help people know about what's going on in Akron. So I'm excited to be here and love these kind of conversations. Really important to the city, the community, and to my heart, and to just excited to get to know you guys.
Well, my name is Ginger Baylor. I had the pleasure of meeting Scott and being in conversation with him, and also Sarah, and we were talking about diversity and different things. I work for this wonderful woman over here, Jessie Ross. I'm her bailiff, and I just want to learn where everyone else is, the situation, and then contribute if I have something that will be helpful to the conversation.
Ginger is also a member of the Akron City School Board, and she's Akron City Council at large. So she's on the ballot next month. Because she never says that because she's trying to be respectful and say that she works for me, but she doesn't more than that.
So you're not saying, you're just saying. Yeah. Yep.
Just saying.
All right. So I want to thank you all for being here. I chose this for many reasons. For me, just personally, it's a really important issue. And in my trainings, my judicial trainings in the last year, there's a lot of talk about diversity and inclusion and making sure that you're acting from the bench, making decisions based on the person in front of you, or do you have some unconscious bias that's getting torn into that, and just making sure that you are open in the way that you run your courtroom. And so this is just a really on a lot of different levels. I'm personally in recovery. I've been in recovery a long time, and one of my missions was kind of to remove the stigma associated with addiction and alcoholism. And so I've been real open about that. But I feel like sometimes other issues get lost right now in Summit County because we are so entrenched in this opiate epidemic that sometimes I feel like other issues get lost. So I want to participate in this conversation rather than that. So I have some data that I'm going to talk about. Nearly 6 in 10 local Black families struggle to make ends meet, which is more than double the overall average and triple the number of white families. So clearly our Black community is struggling financially way more, and that that was one of the goals of the United Way Big Bold Future Goals, was to try to even out that inequity, and yet we're still here. We rank in the 52nd percentile for overall inclusion, but 73rd for racial inclusion. So again, the Black community is not being included at the same level as other individuals in our community. And finally, only 15% of Black students are career and college ready, compared to 42% of students overall. So those are our priority issues to discuss today. They're our starting point, and they are the focus of the Foundation's On the Table Impact Grants, and they want to help mold how those grants will be used based on our conversations today. So I'm going to kind of take notes as people share, but I just would like people to just start adding their thoughts and their impression of this data and how you think we might proceed from here. So I'll just open up to whoever would like to.
Well, I'm just going to say first off, so we get past me and the rest of everybody else is contributing. Sarah and I, we were having a conversation about the white female cop, and the shooting that took place, and some of the things that could have gone on there, because of course we don't know the details of what happened. But just, I was just sharing with her that sometimes, because we don't go into other cultures to get to know them, that sometimes we respond to what we've already heard from other people, not knowing for ourselves, because we haven't had that experience, what really to expect, how to really respond to different situations. So that was something that we were just talking about around the table.
That's a really good point. Like having the opportunity to making opportunities for different people to meet, whether it's from different parts of the county or different parts of the country, like having the ability to get to know somebody else who may or may not be like you, religious, any which way. That is good. You can take away some of the stereotypes that you may have formed unknowingly.
Last year, I know a couple of the churches, and I don't know which ones they are, but a Black church and a white church joined together for social events to get to know each other. It was really cool, and they had a really good experience because of that. It became kind of family between the two churches. And I can't recall what the churches were, but I think that's a really good way to do it, that type of thing where you break bread together.
Yeah. I think it's our church, Kenmore Chapel, and Citizens Akron.
Thank you. I love it.
But it's not. They were not a completely Black church. They're a multicultural church. Citizens is, and then our church primarily is white, although we would like it to be more multicultural. But it was, we would go and meet actually at Citizens Akron, just purely to get out of our context, go from Kenmore to Middlebury, but then sometimes they would also come to Kenmore to get into a different context and be in different areas of Akron and be around different people.
Yeah, our church was a chapel that had service together. So you guys have been to our church and fellowship with us too.
Okay.
The House of the Lord.
Oh, yeah. We did Black Friday.
I wonder what other communities, though, could be joined together besides a faith community. That might be an interesting.
Well, even how do you get that word out? Because I know, just from my perspective in communications, it's really difficult to share some of the, like, how do you let people know what's going on? Because I had no idea that was happening. I would love to have gone to something like that.
Right.
Local media is one thing that can help get the word out for sure. So.
Yeah.
Maybe it's helping to share that message somehow.
Yeah, some way to kind of, when you do it with the church, then you have the church leadership saying, we're going to go do this, we're going to go do that.
Right.
I don't know if the schools could implement something that would enable that, but that would be one way for us to get to know each other better in the different cultures.
Well, I had a chance to visit First Glance. We did a show on on them about a month ago. And it's funny because I've covered a lot of Kenmore in the last 2 months. The Rialto Theater is up and coming there. But the one thing that came away from that show at first glance is they have this amazing facility, but you can't force people to go there. The problem that we're running into right now, and me and Reggie talked about this during our interview, how do you get people to engage or exist? There's a lot of programs that do exist already, but we can't force people to go. So is it that they don't know that they're happening? Is it that they're afraid to go? Is it that they don't have transportation? What are the roadblocks that are keeping people from going to the things that we already do? Because some of the biggest detractors that we hear around the streets is, oh, well, we already do all this stuff, but nobody comes to it, okay? There's that part of it. The second part is the interaction with the police themselves, okay? I know a ton, and I mean a ton, of Akron cops. And in fact, I'm DJing one of their weddings, and she's a prolific one that's been in the news a lot, okay? On top of that, I went to Hoban High School, and all of them are detectives now, and I have no idea because they were all clowns in high school, right? But they're like the head of the detective divisions now, okay? The point is, though, how do you have the interaction between the police and the community where you have an opportunity to get them together and not have people slam that interaction? I went and I recorded live the Shop with a Cop event where the kids get taken to Walmart. Okay.
I love that.
So I went live and I said, "Here come the police. They're surrounding Walmart, but it's for a good reason." And here comes 110 vehicles in with their sirens blaring. Okay. I'm not even kidding. The comments on that feed were awful. It was, "Oh, they should be out protecting the city. What are we wasting? We're wasting our tax money right now." Da 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 da. So how do you?
None of them were working.
Yeah, so how do you get that interaction to be a positive one where it's viewed positively by the community? And on top of that, how do you have more of that where people don't view it as a waste of tax dollars? And then on top of that, there's so many things that do happen that we aren't even aware of. There's an event that takes place toward the beginning of December before that Walmart thing even happens, where the police pull up semi-trucks to a random location in Akron and they unload hundreds of bicycles. And then the people from that community literally walk to it. It's called Project Secret Elf or something. But somebody recorded it and I saw it, okay? How do we do that and get it publicized in a way where it's not considered a negative thing? When I look at these issues, they're like onions. There's multiple layers to them, okay? One is the police interaction. And then also, more importantly, the main topic of your stats is how do we address the justice system in regards to repeat offenders that lose the ability to make a living because of stupid, petty reoffenses. I can't tell you how many times I've seen guys in jail that they get, like you brought it up with the officer yesterday, because Twitter exploded when she got her sentence. Facebook blew up when she got her sentence because it was what I saw. The words they used was it was the trifecta. It was the trifecta holy grail of easy sentencing because she's a white female police officer. Okay, that was the mantra of what everyone was blowing up about, and it was had it been a black officer. Okay, that was the rage. Okay, well, we know for a fact that you get a small little drug offense, right? So you get hit with a marijuana charge, so you get probation. Then you get hit with another marijuana charge. Now it's a misdemeanor. Then you get hit with another marijuana charge. Now it's a felony. Okay? So as they progress through this system, it's getting worse and worse and worse in terms of their ability to even make a living because of the felony. But at the same time, they haven't done anything more than maybe have possession. And it's like you see the system like just feed itself financially. And that's where I find, I guess the word would be fault. And I don't know how we fix that, because a guy's been hit with marijuana a few times and he's lost the ability to make a living for his family. And that breeds toward more crime, and it breeds toward them being on the system. And it's like, how do we fix that? We're stuck in that cycle. And where's the first part to address is the question.
I think when you talk about justice reform, you talk about that we call it pipeline. The way you describe repeat offenses, or all these judges, they see these probation violations, how many people get tied up years and years. I mean, I saw the other day in court, this guy stopped according to probation because he got a job, he didn't get any time off, so he couldn't go to probation, but he's working a job. And he's begging the judge, visiting judge at the time, I'll just do the whole year over again, probation, And I don't know what his original charges are. And, depending on that, like the main thing is the system is very good at tying people down for, I think you'd agree with me when you say like marijuana charges. I'm not a marijuana guy at all. But I don't think people should lose their livelihood or lose their ability to lose their livelihood, especially on crimes like that. Crimes that don't have a definitive victim. I think there's a lot of felonies out there. There's a lot of people that catch these felonies that I don't think should be felonies. Our misdemeanor felony distinction on crimes is too broad. I think we should have at least 3 distinctions where you have your true high crimes, your murders, your rapes, your abuses against children, the elderly, and other vulnerables, your crimes of violence, things like that. But some of these felonies where, one too many times with some weed or, I don't know. Theft is a weird one too, but same thing. Like as long as it's not violent, like as long as like you can't say this person's been victimized, I don't think that person should have to wear that felony for any time longer than their actual punishment, because it's that record that being marked as a felony or even just a criminal offender anyway, with just misdemeanors, that follows you. And yeah, you can get stuff expunged and sealed and all this and that, but it never truly goes away. And it just it holds people down. So when I see 6 out of 10 black families can't make ends meet, how many of those 6 have some kind of criminal record? And out of those 6, and out of those that have that criminal record, how many are non-violent? They may even be felonies. They may even be felons, but have never hurt a soul in their life. Is that right? Or more importantly, should it be fixed? That's the real question.
Well, the legislature's trying to fix the whole drug issue, and I don't know that they've got it right or not. I'm not going to comment on that, but I will say that it's a felony based on the type of drug, and it's based on the quantity. So if you possess, a small amount of marijuana, it will continue to be a misdemeanor. It will never be escalated to a felony. It becomes a felony when you have too much. And
How much is too much?
every drug is different. So it's too much to absorb. But the thing is that we also have a program called Intervention in Lieu of Conviction, where and as long as they haven't committed a violent offense, we allow people to enter into a program where they stay clean and sober for a year, and we'll dismiss and seal their case. They never have a felony on their record.
That's good.
And,
But they still have to plead guilty too.
But they plead guilty, but then we find them not guilty and dismiss the case. So, but what that does is it helps people find a new way of life. The problem is some folks don't want to change, don't know how to change, don't have the resources to make the change. Nobody taught them how to act. That's the underlying issue. I think that's a big issue, is lack of mentorship and a lack of somebody really helping people understand this is how you interact with law enforcement. This is how you interact with the world in a way that's productive. And I see so many folks in front of me that have an attitude that directed towards me with no basis for it, and that's just the attitude they've developed in our world based on their life experience. And so we have to look past that to what is going on with this person. What is not what's wrong with you, but what is in trauma-informed care, what happened to you. And sometimes I feel like in the criminal justice system there's not enough time to look at that. But at least in the intervention in lieu of conviction, or if you're on probation, that gives the probation officer a chance to sit down and look at you and look at what's going on with you. So I hear what you're saying, but there is a lot of value in having folks involved in our system, because it does help them to develop a new way of life if they're willing to change. So, I don't know.
Yeah, I got to see it firsthand with someone last year who was very involved in our lives, and he chose to go to rehab versus to jail, and actually did really really worked to get his life together, and like that was a defining moment for him. It's not for everybody. They're not always ready to make that change, but for this person, like, he had hit rock bottom. He was going to lose his family, and so I saw it work, and he was able to, you know, take that rehab, come out of it, and continue on his sobriety, and has been able to stay sober for, gosh, almost a year now. So
That's excellent.
yeah,
And there are a lot of those success stories. Unfortunately, there's a lot of folks
there's a lot of that aren't as well.
that aren't, and it does take a while. You have to wait 3 years to get a felony expunged. So.
Right.
Well, and Reggie told me that there's parts of Akron right now where kids are growing up. They see drug deals every day,
Right.
right out on the street, and they hear gunshots every night. And it's like, the police can't be everywhere. The police can't be everywhere. And police, the job of a police officer really sucks 90% of the time. There's 10% of the time where it's easy. The other 90, you're going into a situation where you're potentially at risk or in harm's way because you don't know what's on the other side of that door. And that's why it's so important for folks to have that community interaction with them. But how do you do that in these neighborhoods where they grow up taught to be afraid or to not like the police? So it's a difficult scenario that we're up against, and it's countrywide. It's not just Akron, okay? But I mean, how do you? To me, and that's where the gun thing comes in now, with the whole gun control situation.
No, let's not go there.
Well, no.
Let's stay with the drugs right now.
Right, because it's tied in with
You can go back to it, but I want to talk about the drugs. Right
the
now.
opiates part.
And
Okay.
in the community, that is when you're talking about behavior. People don't know how to behave because do they go to Al-Anon? Do they even know about the program? Does anybody know that? There's Alateen? I mean, kids should be able to go to those programs as well. And it doesn't have to be AA related. It could be any kind of related, 12-step, anything. And I'm not saying that 12-step is, complete, but at least it's a stepping stone. And going back to mentorship, I think we need to have more mentorship programs. Kids do not, if they don't have a mother or a father, if they have their grandparents bringing them up, I mean, seriously, do they have any authority figures in their life that they can look to say, okay, or teachers, teachers especially have so much that they have to do. It's unbelievable. They can't just be mom and dad at the school either. So I'm just saying, is there programs out there that they can teach them that, this is the way of life. This is how you be kind to your friends, to your neighbor, to the people down the street. In the program, in their community, where are these places that they can go to feel safe? I mean, if there's gunfire in their neighborhood, I mean, what are they going to do? They don't even feel safe in their own place. I know how that feels, just being in. And you might laugh, but I live in Stowe, but I live in an apartment complex. And people are going in and out of there all the time, drug dealers, all kinds of stuff happening all the time. And it seems like the mayor, community. So when it comes to even apartment complexes, how do you know? I mean, these poor cops have to go to these places, and thank God there's, Stowe Police goes through our parking lot, at least that helps the presence of authority there. But still, that society has to change. We got to change a little bit at a time where we are planted to grow there, because different churches help each other, people in your community. There's so many outreaches, and there's older and older people that, they're retiring or whatnot. They could also be part of this mentorship kind of thing, community thing. I just think that, these senior centers could also have, kids from other neighborhoods come and be mentors to them. because they want to feel alive as well. Sorry, I'm all over the board, but I just, community is just something that, how are they going to know if they're not taught? How are they going to know if they're not in something volunteer?
When you talk about the kids,
yeah,
one of the hardest parts about being a teacher is being that quality role model. Now, it sounds weird that it's a hard thing to do. I see it all the time. I mean, when I read this story about a recent incident where a kid was having a bad day in a class, and he was asked to go to another room, and he refused to go to that room. I was like, this happens all the time. Like, try to kick a kid out of class anymore. It doesn't happen. You know what I mean? And it's not just a matter of kicking a kid out of class and like, oh, that's it. I go on the rest of my 40-minute class and I'm done. You got to touch base with that kid. Okay? You're the regular teacher in there too. And I've been there too. I mean, I've pulled, one kid in particular. Like, I was at Warrensville, working with this kid all year, and he had the same problem. He's a 16-year-old kid. Man, you gotta man up a little bit. You gotta quit going back and forth with these girls like this, blah blah. Like, just arguing all the time. Okay? Now, if you just caught a snapshot of my discussion with that kid out in the hall, you're probably, Mr. Ollie's crazy. He's talking crazy to the kids. That's what you're gonna get, and that's fine. Okay, it's happening. But in the end, you gotta find teachers that are willing to take the time and understand the big picture, because these kids are, that kid's 2 years removed from being out in the community and trying to be a gentleman himself and be functional out there. And there's a lot of kids, I'm telling you right now, I see it in all these different schools. There are a lot of kids that are just, it's scary how much help they need towards functionality, manners, respect, communication. It sounds simple things. Like, I think about these young men that are in these high schools that I deal with. It's like, look me in the eye when you're talking to me. Don't be dancing around. Like, have confidence in what you're saying. Whenever I do assignments and things like that, I'm always trying to get them up, public speaking, talking to people instead of, these kids are so good at that. It's another one of those layers, because when they go out to the community and they can't talk about what their bad day looks like, what their problem looks like. They're lucky to be in school and deal with educators, okay? But once they're not in school, they're not dealing with educators, they're dealing with the police. That ends up showing in many different forms. And there's a lot of different angles and layers to that too. I know we all want police presence, we all want to feel safe with police, but at the same time, I think there's some real need for police reforms to keep police safer, but also keeping us safe.
He's talking about education, that just kind of like really hits my wheelhouse. It's like, and the children, and what I've experienced in the classroom as well. And the kids coming in, like sometimes they'll just put their heads down and not just give them a gentle pat. You okay this morning? This kind of stuff. And the next thing you know, their head raises, because I'll just continue to go. I just check on them to see if they're okay. Right. And a lot of times that's all they need is a touch or some concern from somebody that acts like they care about, me and, and how I'm feeling, even if they never share. They feel better about it. And I'm seeing those responses, so I know that kid is in there. That kid that we want to see, they're there. We just have to figure out how we're going to bring them out and, enculturate them in the environment and make them, a great citizen. So that's just one thing. There's many things I could talk about, but we don't have time.
Well, I was just going to say, we have a kid right now that literally comes to our church on Sundays because he knows it's a safe place. And he said to my husband, I didn't know that this existed here. He lived in the neighborhood. So that's part of what we were talking about, like just helping kids or adults know that things exist, that First Lance existed for him to be able to walk into this building. And then he was like, oh, and you have a church at that building on Sundays? He wants to be there then too, because that's a safe place for him to be, because he doesn't feel safe in his home. So I think education is like a huge part of it, because there are so many great things out there, you know, community centers and you know, youth centers like First Glance and so on and so forth. But then also, I was just thinking about this with teachers, because I was talking to a teacher friend. She is in an Akron public school, and a rougher one, and she is struggling. And she was saying a lot of the teachers are struggling, and she's actually talking with some other management about getting the teachers some counseling as well. And I thought that was really cool.
Yep.
I thought that was really cool, because the kids at the school have counseling. The teachers need it because they're dealing with trauma. They're dealing with that too. But then also cutting ourselves some slack. That was the last thing I wanted to kind of say, was like you said at the beginning, like, teachers have this responsibility, and yes, they do. We all have a responsibility to kids, to people in our community, but at the same time, we're all imperfect, but we're all just trying our best. And if we're all like getting out there and doing what we can in the community and helping to educate and helping to, you know, move our community forward, then that's going to be better than trying to like live up to this ideal that we can never live up to.
It's hard.
So.
And I think I Promise is trying to model that. I mean, my kid's part of the program. My kid is in the LeBron James program. So right now he's at Litchfield now, so he's moved up, and he goes, three or four times a week right now to the after school program. So he stays till 4:30 roughly. But again, it goes back to what you said. 5 o'clock hits, they're heading home, right? And then the other part of that is the whole food issue, and tying in with the poverty number. You know, a lot of those kids don't eat over the summer, where they're not getting the free lunches that the school provides too. So I don't know how to fix it, but
I know the Akron Public Schools have, you know, instituted a policy for wraparound services in all of the schools. So I think that that's a huge place to start, because I think the younger you get them, the better chance we have of really helping these kids develop in a way that leads them away from crime and into productive life. If you get them at 15, then yes, they're redeemable for sure, but it's a harder road to get them to even want that or to think that they deserve it.
Well, and it's information and education as well. There's a program right now that exists where if people don't have the internet at their house, they can sign out a modem for 3 months, and they take it home. So it's a free program. I put it up on 330 to Go about 2 months ago. Most of the viewing audience had never heard of that before. Okay, so it exists because part of the problem is we give these kids these Chromebooks, and then they go home and they don't have the internet. So then that you go and you see like McDonald's is loaded up with kids doing their homework after school's over because they don't have the internet at home. All right, and it's just something that we all take for granted. But some of these lower income areas, it's a problem. Okay, but you know, Tom Ginder, if you guys know Tom, he mentioned to me that this program existed, and he shared it with me, and I put it up there, and people started signing up for it. So, but that's the whole thing, though. These things exist, like I said, but know about them. How do we make everybody more aware of the programs that currently exist? So,
Exactly.
you were gonna say something?
Well, no, I think what I'm hearing a theme of mentorship and that camaraderie, like keeping people from being in those siloed, being at home by themselves, being on their phones alone. I'm also part of an organization called Girls on the Run. Now it's specific to girls, so I guess it's not fair to
organization.
And so what I love about it is the fact that it does really focus on this journey of self-confidence, trying to catch young girls at a time that they still haven't let society in to make them insecure. So it's a time that you build this community of young girls, they become a team. There's a community give back component, there's a physical fitness component, and then there's a education component, learning about yourself and that confidence. The other great thing about the program for me, and I'm not trying to sell it necessarily, is that it's if girls can't afford or their families can't afford to be part of it, no girls turned away because they can't afford it. So having that kind of group something like that, whether it's Girls on the Run or a Boys and Girls Community, or Boys and Girls Club or something like that is fantastic, because I think if you can get kids together and they can talk and support each other, and even with the coaches, like a couple of the board members with us joined specifically because they said, you know, I think girls need to see someone that looks like them standing with their coaching, being part of the group, things like that. So maybe it's a matter of getting community more involved in the Boys and Girls Clubs, the Girls on the Runs clubs, the other things that exist that maybe we don't know about, getting all those together so we can create that sense of community. You get to meet new people that you may not know from before, but then you're there to support each other and create that mentor.
We talk about they need mentors that, you know, that look like them, that come from where they come from, things like that. You know, we get that a lot in a lot of the schools, a lot of the urban schools. I mean, I've worked in the Akron schools, Bedford, Warrensville, Euclid, East Cleveland. I think going back to like when your two churches came together and had that exposure to each other, I think that something like that needs to be facilitated between the schools. Because when I first started, I mean, I remember like in my first few weeks of socio teaching, I went to a 4th grade class in East Cleveland. And I mean, it was overwhelming. Just the extra stuff you have to take care of. There's kids wanting to fight, throw stuff, all the extra stuff, everything but what they were supposed to do. And then in that same week, I go to North Olmsted, and it was like, all right. And then I go to a place like Olmsted Falls, and it was like, and I'm talking 4th grade across the board, 3 different 4th grade classes. And I'm talking like, it was boom, boom, boom. Those kids knew exactly what they had to do. And it wasn't like, okay, what do we do now? It was boom, right in their books that they're reading, you know? And it's like, it breaks my heart because I see it all the time, bouncing around in these different schools. It's like, what's the difference? What's the difference? What can we do? I mean, do we need to start taking, like, even, you know, I spent 2 years at Warrensville in their high school, and, you know, there's this idea. What's up, man? I'm gonna catch up with you. There's this culture of this is the way it is here, and that's the way pretty much it's always gonna be. And I tell them, like, you can't go out into the world and think what you're doing right now is okay. Like, you can't talk to people like this. You can't spaz out. I love that one. I'm like, I'm about to spaz. Like, no, that doesn't work. Like, spaz here, and like at worst you're gonna get, you know, a day or two, smash this, whatever. You spaz out there, people make the wrong kind of phone call. It's a bad day. Like, you got to be able. And again, it comes back down to mentorship and really that whole well-rounded approach of social emotional learning. There's got to be counselors, and there are. I mean, some of the kids, social worker is probably sick of me. It's like, I mean, one girl came up to me one time, and it's like, I'm like, okay, what is it? And then she started talking. I'm like, whoa, okay, hold on, not me. I'm not the guy. Let's take you down to the social worker. She'll help you out, you know. But there needs to be real follow-up on that, and there is. But at the same time, like, your friend, is that who you got, the teacher friend, right? She's like, there's a lot of teachers out there just trying to survive every day.
Yeah, that's what she said her, like, the whole school's just
You
like,
can go in a classroom and just tell one of the teachers just
yeah.
And
I mean, it just shows all over the area.
and it's a shame, because here's the thing: a person like you goes in there into that classroom, and it's like, oh man, they're gonna see my mess in here, and I'm gonna get blamed for this and all that. There's nothing OTET, like, there's nothing, like, you know, honestly, the lesson thing, the teaching and all that, that's fine and dandy. But in a lot of these schools, the bigger part of the job doesn't get evaluated at all. But God help you as a teacher, and you mess up. Now, like the one that like smacked the kid, would I have done it? No. But I'm telling you.
Did you see what he said though? He's like, I didn't feel like being called a B that day.
That's fine. You know what? To be honest with you,
I was like,
I'll put it on record. He shouldn't lose his job for that.
no,
Okay.
I don't think so.
Not for that. Okay. Because these kids will they think they can talk to someone some kind of way.
Right.
And think you can't come at them because their hands are tied. And I'm telling you, you can't put your hands on the bottom line. You can't.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
But he also said, you know, I'm not gonna get it.
Well, let's switch gears for a second, okay?
Yeah.
Because
Just, I mean,
I've been there.
You direct
Bottom
it.
line, I've been there.
Right.
We're running out of time because at the end they want us to do have time to do our surveys. So we have about 15 minutes left. I have a take action worksheet. So they want me to write down what can we do together to generate positive solutions? What specific actionable solutions are needed?
Go easy on them,
Who needs to be engaged to be successful? And what are individual or groups' next steps? So let's try to focus. I mean, a lot of stuff's been thrown out, but I would love some help filling this out with, you know, your input on that. So what can we do together to generate positive solutions? What specific solutions are needed? Who needs to be engaged? And what are our individual or groups' next steps?
Can I give like a dreamer idea? It's my dreamer. I'm just thinking about bringing the schools together, and I actually did this in my 4th grade, and this is what made me think of it. What if schools for totally different kids were pen pals and wrote each other letters throughout the year, also getting them good at their writing. They
You mean actually writing?
actually
Not
writing.
typing like this?
Or they could be typing on the computer. I don't know, whatever their teacher wants them to practice.
That's a great idea.
They're practicing social interaction, and then they get to go and meet the other class. Maybe even 2 times. One where one class goes to this neighborhood, and then this class goes to this neighborhood. They're getting like the whole experience of changing their side of the tracks, so to say, and then they're learning how to interact with kids that are different from them. So anyway, it's a dreamer idea, but
Real quick, I want to mention Stowe does that. Stowe has a sister school in China where they'll do like remote classes through the school year, and for like the last week or 2 of school, they bring those Chinese kids to Stowe. And then like the next 2 or some amount of time after that, the Stowe kids that are involved in that program will go to China to study there.
Awesome, but why can't we do that locally?
Right, locally.
Like,
Across the
let's do
county.
it right here, like 30 minutes away from each other, and have an easy.
That makes just too much sense.
Well,
It's just too much sense.
here's another dreamer idea that Don and I have always had is for the people that want to be sober and really want to work that program, to take them out of their environment completely so that they don't have the friends, they don't have the phone, they don't have anything, but go with a healthy family to see what a healthy family really is like. To live in a house that people interact, respect each other, and they can be human, but still understand what it's like to have an argument, have conflict, have whatever. That's like a dreamer idea of ours as well. We'd love to have where people could go to another house in another neighborhood or another part of the city and just see what people really do.
This person that I talked about earlier, it was him, his wife, and his 2 kids. They actually moved in with us for 6 months, and I know that was a huge part of the change. And I know that it wasn't even putting it on us. It was, something that God told us to do, and so we had to do it. But I know, like, even any kind of healthy family, any kind of stability, I totally agree with you that would be amazing to actually have a program for that.
There's actually adults that need that too.
Yeah.
I'll sit in the courtroom gallery. I was sitting and I saw a young woman who was in custody, and she's talking about, she had a place. She lived in a house, and she wanted so bad to go get this clay footprint thing of her childhood. And it's like, she's probably thinking it's gone already, and they're working on her release, but the judge is like, well, do you have anywhere safe to go? No. Who do you have that you can rely on? She's like, nobody. She's like, she was better off in custody at that time and moment, And I'm sitting back there, I'm like, people like this, and I don't know what she's in there for, But people like that almost need like a safe house, like almost like a foster system for adults with those kind of problems, like
There is
an adopt an addict kind
there
of thing.
is stuff like that though, and again, it's back to education. The women's shelter here in Akron, like I just did something with them, and I actually didn't even know like the battery shelter, Hope Healing, Hope
Okay.
Health.
Yeah.
This
Okay.
one.
And rehab.
and
And
rehab,
Yep.
absolutely, yeah, depending on the situation. But they will take like even I guess emergency situations like that. So there are
And we
services.
have a continuum of care for the homeless community. I mean, there are some who say that it's not sufficient, and again, I'm not going to comment on whether
Right.
it is or not, but there is a continuum of care, and there are places that you can be placed if you reach out and ask for that kind of help.
Sage has been on my show. All right, so back to what you said. I didn't say. Did I say that out loud? Back to what you said. Another thing is having establishments for people where they can attend and not have alcohol there.
Right.
Like normal things, like for example, a sport. There's a place. Isn't there a place called the Dry People's Club somewhere?
Paradise.
You know what I'm saying, though. But I mean,
They're both the Paradise Club and the Dry People's Club have been, to some extent, neglected because they are supported by people who are in recovery, who are trying to put their lives back together, and they don't have the resources. So actually, I was at the Paradise Club last night.
Okay.
I'm in recovery.
Okay.
And I was thinking how that entire country has been completely renovated, and that old Paradise Club is still, in need of help.
Yes.
Because it just doesn't pair up. And of course, then there's bars popping up all around it, which, if you're new in recovery, you don't want to be going to a place where there's bars.
It's like
you can walk to.
neon signs flashing. Come here. Come
Not
here.
quite, but almost, So, again, you have the communities who are disadvantaged or who are trying to help others, but without those resources to keep up with all of the upkeep and that.
Okay. That was just an idea.
Yeah, no, and there are a couple of places, but as someone in recovery, I think it would be cool to have someplace I could go hang out. So we go to coffee shops, bowling is one option.
But they're not open past 2 o'clock, right?
Right.
So Don,
The dry clubs, and they're not open past 2 o'clock either. So, yeah. But did you see that about the midnight basketball that the mayor is reinstituting? That
Yeah.
program?
Yep.
I think that's pretty cool.
That is cool.
With kids, like youth, is it guys like 18 and older? Or do you know what the age limit is?
Yeah. I think it's 1835 or something like that.
So young adults, men,
Yeah.
can go play basketball.
Relive their former glory.
Yeah, well, but it's something they can go
Well,
do
and then-
anytime.
and then
So,
Otto-
yeah, that's
then you
great.
don't have to go to a bar.
Otto's been opening up those futsal fields too. Otto Orff with the Crunch. There's indoor futsal is like indoor outdoor soccer. Okay, but he's opened up several courts in the area now where kids can just go play ball. So there are the efforts are happening.
Right.
It's just how do we get them there quicker, and then on top of that, how do we combat the opioid issue? So did we even talk about the drug issue today, or no? Is that
But you know what? There is another table talking about the drug
okay?
issue.
I won't. I'll keep that one
So
over there.
so I've got bring the schools together, different economic situations, community mentorship, demonstrating appropriate relationships, adults needing help. Then the pen pals between the schools and then visit. Identify organizations that already need mentors and connect folks with them. And then the go to live in other healthy homes in early sobriety.
Or like I said, get the seniors involved. Get
Yeah,
seniors
yeah.
involved in these communities that could be mentors, that could transport them there. I mean,
Right.
they have transportation to get them. Why not, after school programs or something?
And there's so much information about the organizations. You can go on United Way's website and you can search what kind of organization you want to volunteer in. You can call 211. Is that the one for community organ? You can call 211 and they can connect you with organizations that can help. But it feels like just a lot of folks just aren't aware. Despite the fact that I know all about this, that doesn't mean everybody knows.
That's true.
So so there's a lot out there, and I think communicating somehow with this community, what those resources are, might be helpful.
Well, yeah, block clubs, I mean, in some communities you do. So those tend to do well as far as communicating things to the people who are hard of that.
How can you model that and take it to another community? How do they do it successfully that they can go to the neighborhood next to them?
That's true.
I think how do you the best way to push all of this is through social media, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, even though I don't know what it even is, and what's the other one?
Whatever the kids are in.
TikTok. Okay, don't use it. I'm an old guy, so it's Facebook and Instagram for me. All right, but the point is, if we're gonna want to appeal to these folks, we've got to do it in their world. And their world is the palm of their hand.
Right.
Going back to what I said earlier, if they don't have the internet, more than likely they'll have a cell phone plan and they have a smartphone. Okay? So I would think that there would be a huge push to use social media to push all of these programs, and you got to do it in a attractive way.
Right.
It's got to be flashy. I mean, we run the game day basketball program at Grace Church, and it's like going to a Cavs game. And you have to make it so that it's a consumable resource that people want to attend. Like, hey, we've got this first glance place. Why do I want to go there? And then you see this video of this kid doing a 360 ollie off the top of the half pipe, and you're like, wow!
I know.
It's that. So I think part of what we run into is these programs that do exist are very dry, and they're very, hey, we're having a meeting, come on over. We got to get more creative.
Maybe need more millennials helping direct how we
I hate that word, but the answer is yes.
I know. More folks of that age.
Because then we stereotype people, right? We just put them with the M word.
Folks in the younger age range could be the ones helping to communicate the message.
Because they know what they're doing. You guys could probably hire a team of 16 to 18-year-old girls, and they would run this whole thing for you flawlessly across every social medium for like $20.
I think even tapping into local organizations, so taking it back to like the disability network.
I was going to
So
say,
like an autism society, upside down, people are so inundated with all those messages. Not that they aren't a good thing, but we all get all this advertising from everywhere. But when you hear it from someone that you're personally connected with in a group that you find to be a safe place, you're going to listen a little better. You're going to take that advice a little more to heart. So is there a way to tap into the local organizations, like be it, a disability organization or any other local group that can help share some of the messaging that people need to help with the opioid epidemics or inclusion issues or any of the other problems that we're struggling with?
All right, well, we're out of time, and they really want me to make sure you do the survey. So, you can do the survey on your phone by using the QR code, or you can enter this little thing. And if you would like to fill out hard copy, because you just are not.
Don doesn't have a road. Yeah.
And I actually have copies of the hard copy. If anybody wants
I have to text. I don't
Text
I have
survey.
no idea how to do
That's
To
really
receive
easy.
a link.
They just sent me a link.
Yeah, I don't have a QR code either. It's an age thing.
Yeah, I had one and it caused too many issues, so I got rid of
I had
it.
one and I was like, why do I have
I never.
Thank you all so much for participating at my table today. And I really enjoyed all the conversation. It's really interesting. I think it's amazing how this forum works. Last year I was in an incredible conversation over at Greystone. So every year I've been to this, it's been fun. So thank you all for being here.
Thank you.
For recording us.
Hey, no problem.
Is it off now?
All right, folks, this is Hank Forrester signing off. Thank you so much for tuning in. You got something else to
I
say?
was just going to make a suggestion.
Okay.
We should all get together and really do an initiative ourselves as a group.
Yeah, this
Take
is a perfect
something
idea to
on.
network.
Sure, absolutely.
Develop it.
I'm warning you now. I bring the crazy.
You need it.
Okay.
Text this.
I'm just
text these letters.
I'm just letting you know.
Okay, to be crazy.
Well, I'll have you doing like on a trampoline and foam kind of deal with kids.
7979.
Folks, thanks for tuning in. This is Hank Forster signing off. I'll be live tomorrow for a tea party. Yes, you heard me, a tea party with my daughter somewhere in an undisclosed location in downtown Akron. Until then, don't know where I'm going, but there ain't no sense in being late. Everybody out there, say goodnight, Shirley.